Mason Bennett-Ponsford is a 17-year-old, non-binary, transgender youth from Olympia, Washington. They have been a part of Planned Parenthood's Teen Council for 2 years, participating in peer-led sex education in local middle and high schools. They are a member of PPFA's Young Leaders Advisory Council. They love poetry, podcasts, and lies. Let's welcome Mason Bennett-Ponsford.
Hi. Can everyone hear me all right? All right, good. So I am going to be talking a little bit about, mentioning suicide a little bit. So if that is something that is particularly triggering for you, I would encourage you to take whatever space you need and just be able to take care of yourself, respect yourself around that. So my name is Mason. For most of you out there, this is your first impression of me. And you've all probably made assumptions about me. You can tell just by looking at me that I'm white, that I'm young, and I'm fairly thin. From the context you're seeing me in and that introduction, you can assume that I'm interested in youth sexuality and sex education. You probably assume that I'm able-bodied, that is, I have no disabilities, and assume that I'm allistic, which is to say that I'm not autistic or anywhere on the spectrum of autism. Even though we can't really judge these by looking at someone, it's our society's default. We assume these things about people until we're proven otherwise. So it just happens whenever you meet someone that you begin to make assumptions about them. This is natural. It helps us to categorize, it helps us to gather information about a person, to function within social settings, and to even judge how safe we are within a given environment. I'm not saying that assumptions are bad. Of course, I'm not excusing them either. A lot of them are really harmful. They come from harmful ideas and can really hurt people. Most of them we don't even think about. And a lot of them are based in gender and sexuality. You've also probably assumed that I'm not straight. A lot of you probably that I'm a lesbian. A lot of you that I'm butch. Some of you that I'm queer. And without fail, you've made assumptions about my gender. Of course, I forgot that I put my gender in the bio. But when you just look at me, it's obvious that even though I've got short hair, that my name is masculine and I dress like a dress. I'm sort of stereotypically androgynous, but it's obvious that I'm a girl, that I have a high voice, that I have hips, that I have a round face, slim shoulders, no facial hair. My body language speaks of someone who's conditioned to fall back and to hide myself, and all that. So it's obvious that I'm a girl. But I'm not. All those things are correct, and they line up with what the doctor told my mom when I was born, but all that is really only indicative of what my genitals look like, and you're all right about that, but I'm not really sure why you wanted to know about my genitals in the first place. I'm trans, which is short for transgender, which you hopefully all heard by now. The story about Erica wanted to play with monster trucks and knock dolls, and is now Eric. Zach wanted to wear dresses instead of sports jerseys, and is now Zoe. But there's a lot more than that. That's just kind of a narrative that we've been given. The easy-to-swallow, lifetime original movie trans lifestyle. And of course, for a lot of people, it does work like that. A lot of people do have binary genders. But a lot of people, it doesn't. A lot of us got our dresses while playing sports, and a lot of us didn't want to play with monster trucks or dolls, or played with Legos and dragons, and read a lot of books, and had a good time. A lot of us knew that we weren't girls, but we knew that we weren't boys either. And it took so much pain, so much time and denial and unlearning and relearning what gender means to get there. I'm not a girl, and I'm not a boy either. My name is Mason, and I use they and them pronouns. I guarantee that you have used they and them pronouns before. It's really not that hard. You just try it out. You say, that person has a really great button on their shirt. Or, wow, who's that? I really like their hair. If you don't really understand it, it's all right. You just need to trust that I understand it and that it's my identity. One of the major reasons that I've gotten to the place that I am, that I'm able to know myself like I know myself, is because of my privilege. I'm white and I'm middle class. I've always had parents there to support me, even if it took them a little time. The community I grew up in is incredibly tolerant, and it was very easy for me to find the safe spaces and like-minded people. It was easy for me to get the resources I needed to learn and to grow and to realize myself. And honestly, I kind of look like the poster child transmasculine person. Because I'm white and I'm thin and I'm middle class and I'm generally unassuming. See, misogyny makes it so that the worst thing that a man can be is a woman. While transmasculine folks do experience oppression, it's nowhere near what trans women experience. And trans feminine people have their identities completely thrown into question the moment they show any masculine characteristics. If you think about it, so a girl cuts her hair short, people think it's cute, it's indie, whatever, but man puts on a dress with makeup and he's considered unnatural, or a threat, or a joke. As much as my identity is marginalized, there are so many in my community who have it so much worse. I can barely name 2 of my friends who do not struggle with anxiety and depression. At least 3 of my friends have attempted suicide, one of them in my own home. I can name 4 friends who have been homeless or couch hopping in the past 6 months. These are the friends that I have, and this is what we get. What we get is no representation of ourselves. No one who looks like us, or acts like us, or loves like us to look up to. No possible future with our loved ones beside if you're not already Neil Patrick Harris, or you don't die by the 3rd act of the movie. Our heroes never look like us. We try and fit ourselves, cut ourselves, and stretch ourselves to fit a mold that they never wanted us to fit, but it's impossible, and we'll kill ourselves trying. Just be yourself is advice given out by people whose self is already recognized in our society, people whose self won't get them killed. They can't tell us that it gets better when it won't. Yes, we won't be in high school, but we'll still have to deal with the same people. We'll still see the same commercials and television and the same toxic society that hurt us in high school. Yes, we'll have autonomy, but we'll face job and housing discrimination. The jobs we get won't pay our living wages, but we do them anyway because we don't have a choice. Those lucky enough to get a college education will face the highest rates of college graduate unemployment in decades. What they promised us when they said it gets better is it got better for them. It'll get, sorry, I wrote something weird on my page. What they've left us with is a legacy of failure. The name of slacker and the me generation and the selfie generation, and they blame us when we can't live up to their standards, and we blame ourselves. But I want you to make it better. I want you to start supporting queer inclusive sex education programs so we can know who we are, so we can know how to take care of ourselves, and so others can know how not to hurt us. I want you to raise the minimum wage to a livable salary. I want you to help keep queer youth off the streets by supporting queer inclusive youth shelters. And not the Salvation Army. I could talk about that, but it's not what this is about. We don't want special privileges. We only want what you have. We only want the right to not grow up hurt and broken. We only want the tools to help ourselves. We want you to listen to us. The only way you can know how to help is to listen to those you're helping. It doesn't sound like much, but it's something we're so often deprived of in a society that takes away our voice and our agency. We want you to respect us. Don't doubt our decisions based on our age or our perceived immaturity. If someone tells you how they want to be referred to as, it's not your job to ask them why, it's your job to respect that preference. It's your job to allow us to make our own decisions. want you to stop making assumptions. It's hard, but it's necessary. All you have to do is ask, and if we feel safe enough, we'll tell you. And you have to respect that. I want to thank everyone who has been listening. I want to thank everyone who has been respecting, and I want to thank everyone who's been thriving despite all the hardships they've been put up against, and I want to thank everyone who has just been surviving. Thank you.